Hello, this is Jake Light, Gaming Lawyer at your service. The video you're about to see is an edited version of my streaming of The Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve on Twitch. If you like what you see, consider leaving a like or comment on this video, or subscribe to the channel and click on the bell to be the first to watch the latest content. Otherwise, if you want to catch me live and interact with me on Twitch, the link is in the description below. As always, take care, stay hopeful, but be critical. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another Great Ace Attorney Chronicles, where it's been some time from the last one. Ooh man, what has happened today? Well, I'd say what has happened last time. Without looking into the past videos, we've come to a stage where we found out, at least. I think the only thing we proved in this case was that the contraption, the invention that our client, claimed to be able to teleport people from one place to another instantaneously, has been debunked. There has been some sort of trickery, some sort of magic trick in it, which did most of the thing, and apparently the magic trick is that got our sponsor killed for some reason. We do not know how he was killed. Maybe with the crossbow, or who knows. But as far as I know, we've exposed how the teleportation worked. Now we're gonna be doing more investigations and going to look around, I guess. Looking for more evidence. But that's that. So we have 1 day to do our investigations, right? It's absolutely like real life. No, I'm just kidding you. Don't believe me. It's not exactly like real life, okay? 23rd October, 2:41 p.m. Naruto's Legal Consultancy. Oh, this room. It's been too long. It hasn't changed in the slightest, though. Yay, Susaru-san! And it's been some 6 months, hasn't it? It's a long time for things to stay so familiar. I didn't know when you might return, and I wanted everything to be as you'd left it. But it has been some 6 months. It's true. So is your father alright, Susie? What happened? My father? Yes, Professor Mikotoba. I mean, it was half a year ago, but that's why you went back to Japan. Because of the telegram you received saying he'd fallen ill with a very high fever for some unknown reason. That's right. So I was surprised to learn you'd be coming back so soon. Surprised but happy. Oh no. I think I wrote about it in my letter to you. It was all a trick. My father is in fine health, and I'm obviously very relieved about that. Well, we're all delighted to have you back. It was quite by accident that I have been able to return to Europe, actually. It's because of a very grand conference called the International Forensic Science Symposium. The International Forensic. That's the same symposium Lord Strongheart mentioned. Anyway, I've arrived safe and sound, and all that matters is that I'm here now. After all, I haven't yet fulfilled my promise to you, Iris. Oh! Oh no. Okay, now I only now realize my mic sensitivity was pumped real low. Okay, apologies everyone. I probably sound much clearer to you all. But yeah, let's continue. You must tell us everything that happened while you were back in Japan. Yes, of course, I shall. And there's one other thing. something you wrote in your letter that particularly grabbed my attention. About you know who. About Kazuma. I know. I'll tell you all that I can. Yeah, we're gonna have a conversation with... Oh man, there's a lot. With Susato. When I first arrived back in Japan, I really thought I'd never be allowed to return to Britain. But curiously, after that awful trial at the Supreme Court, Father's mood changed entirely. The awful trial? Oh yes, for the murder of Giselle Bratt.
Ooh, you dressed as a man then, didn't you, Susie?
Yes, Susato was very hot.
Oh, well, yes, since women are forbidden in the courtroom, I had no choice. Wow, amazing! I wish I'd seen it. Don't you, Bruno? Don't you, Bruno?
Yes, I suppose so.
I want to play at being a lawyer now. I could wear a false mustache, maybe?
I don't think any mustache could hide the fact that you're just 10 years old, Iris. There's something else I've been wanting to ask you, Miss Susato. It's about the real reason why Professor Mikotova summoned you back to Japan. You said in your letter it was something to do with that convict's loot we found in Mr. Natsume's lodgings.
That's right. The very large dog collar we found with the B emblem on it. It seems Mr. Natsume included a drawing of the collar in the report he submitted about his time in Britain. I understand that when Father saw the report, he turned as white as a sheet.
Why would that be, then?
Father came to Britain himself, of course, to study. It was some time ago now, but he stayed for 6 years. I can only imagine that something must have happened during that time. But if he refuses to tell me what it was, then I intend to find answers for myself. And I've decided that I, for one, won't keep any more secrets. Oh, Susie!
That's a very meaningful look Susato-san's giving Iris now there. Lord Strongheart mentioned something about that symposium too. I think he said that investigative authorities from 40 different countries would attend.
Yes, and from Japan, my father and Judge Jukoku have been invited.
Yes, our Japanese judge is called Jukoku, which means hell in Japanese. Hell judge. How fitting.
It's something of an honor, I believe.
Well, Professor Mikotova is the leading expert in forensic medicine in our country, after all. But who's the other person you mentioned? A judge, did you say?
Yes, His Excellency, Judge Seishiro Jukoku. You've met him, Miss Naruhodo? Last year, in the Supreme Court. You can't possibly have forgotten. That terrible trial of yours, when you were accused of murder?
Ah, yes, I try to think of it as a positive turning point in my life these days.
Well, it was Judge Jukoku who presided over that trial.
They probably only have one judge. If I'm perfectly honest, I'd be happy never to see that man's face again in my life. Also, why I say there's only one judge in these legal systems is because of how fast they go through trials.
Oh, well, anyway, as Father was invited to the symposium, he agreed to me returning to Britain too. He won't actually arrive until next month, but, well, I couldn't wait. So I pleaded with him, and in the end he agreed to me going on ahead.
Yes, about the symposium, it seems as though Lord Strongheart has put in an awful lot of work to make it happen. It's obviously very important.
I believe it is, yes. As I understand it, Lord Strongheart organized the entire event himself. I think he's hoping that by achieving exceptional results, he'll get the job of Attorney General.
What?
the most senior position in the British justice system. He's hoping to use his power to create the world's finest policing institution. That's what Father said anyway. Apparently, it's Lord Strongheart's lifelong ambition. Does Professor Mikotoba know Longstrot personally then? I wonder. Actually, Lord Strongheart gave me a long speech about all about this very subject only yesterday. But I sort of lost the will to leave early on and didn't really listen to much of it. How trying for you. Giselle Bratt, the woman whose unforgivable actions ended me being wrongly accused of a crime I didn't commit. The murder of Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, Giselle Bratt. That's a name I won't forget for as long as I live. The extraordinary thing is, though, it seems it's a name we should all forget. Sorry? Since the incident, our government's intelligence services have been investigating Miss Bratt. But it turns out that an Englishwoman by the name of Giselle Bratt didn't actually exist. Didn't actually exist? But how can that be? It was a pseudonym. Her real name was Shin. And she wasn't a visiting student either. It was a front. A front? Ooh, who on earth was she then? Miss Shin. Is that a pun? Missing, Mrs. Shin. Okay, because she's missing. Her name is literally all our intelligence services have been able to ascertain about her. Nobody knows why or even how she came to be in Japan. It's a complete mystery. But that makes no sense. Why is a person's name Mrs. Singh? It's no easy task to be accepted as a foreign student anywhere. What could a woman have been up to? Spying? I'm afraid I don't really know. The only thing we can be sure of is that she had some business in our country that we don't yet understand. And now she's been killed, while all the questions surrounding her existence remain unanswered. I'm afraid so. Shin. Who on earth was she? Why do I feel as though I've heard that name before somewhere? I have no idea, Ryunosuke. I don't have... As much as I always say I am like you, but my brain, my memory is not good as you. After my friend Ray's trial, remember me. The reporter who actually killed Miss Bratt said something very strange. I know the truth. I know you had a hand went on in that visiting student's fate. Hey, Dr. Marmot. Nobody here in Japan knows anything about it. They don't know that the guy never made it into England and he died on that steamship. And that you never. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, Doctor. How are you? Doing good? You're doing great? Oh man, excuse me. Jake the Moral, is this your first time seeing me more? Hello then. Hello. Well, you have to get used to it for at least the entire month, because I will be looking like that. Obviously, I couldn't ask him to elaborate at the time. But later, I visited the man in his prison cell and asked him what he was going to say about Kazuma-sama. What did you learn? After he died on the voyage to Great Britain, his body should have been unladen at the port of Hong Kong and passed into the care of the consulate staff there. Should have been? Well, it turns out that his body never arrived. It just disappeared. Oh, I'm getting goosebumps. Kazuma is not dead. Well, they have
suspicions. Okay, I already have suspicions that Kazuma is not dead at the end of the game. So yeah. What? Kazuma's body vanished? Our government tried to cover the fact up, it seems. They erected a grave on the cliffs by our hometown. Except Kazuma-sama isn't there. Did Professor Mikotoba know about this? Yes, it would seem that he did. But he didn't tell me. They're still investigating what happened to Kazuma-sama's body as we speak. I just don't believe it. Why is this acute feeling of apprehension I've all of a sudden? Whoosh. Thinking back now, some of the things that happened on the SS Buria was definitely strange. I mean, after he died, we never saw his body again, did we? Could it be that he's actually still alive? Stop it, Miss Naruto. It's too much to bear. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. Just thinking about the possibility pains me so very much. Cast your mind back for a moment, Miss Naruto. When Kazuma-sama was discovered, Mr. Sholmes was there, wasn't he? And he definitely examined the body. I remember it clearly. Well, define examine, because we didn't really did a autopsy on the body. We just look at the body on the floor, and we didn't even. I don't think we did like really examine anything on the body. You're right. So, if Kazuma had actually been dead at all, it would mean that Mr. Sholmes had lied to us. Mr. Sholmes is lying. But there's no reason why he would possibly have done such a thing. I suppose that's true. Yes, but he's the great detective though, you know? The idea that he might still be alive somewhere. It wants to fill me with hope. But I can't let it, because if it turned out not to be true, then I'd be back at the bottom of that awful pit of despair again. I'm terrified of what that might do to me. Oh, Miss Susato. I know she's given an idea, the thought it deserves. It's Susato-san we're talking about after all. So I probably shouldn't push it now. Alright, I'm guessing that's all we have to talk about. Unless there's anything else we can talk about. Probably not. So yeah, let's go now. Oh, I can't move. Is someone here around here? Oh! Hey, Iris.
It must be about a year ago now. I wrote a really long story based on some of my father's old notes. It's about one of Hurley's greatest exploits. I call it the Hound of the Baskervilles.
But then Mr. Sholmes forbade you from publishing it, and put the manuscript somewhere up nobody could get their hands on it.
So nobody knows anything about it apart from Hurley and I. But for some reason, you knew the title of it, didn't you, Susie?
Oh, it sounds exciting. The Hound of Baskervilles. I should love to read it.
And you would tell me how you'd come to know it.
Yes, but I made you a promise I will explain one day, didn't I? And I think it's time.
Oh!
I'm only sorry I've had to keep it from you for so long, Iris. Ooh. New song that I've never heard of.
It was completely by accident I came to know the title of your manuscript, Iris. It was a short while before we left Japan. I was cleaning Father's study and I saw something on his writing desk. A large box of papers. There was a label affixed to the box that was written in English. It read, "The Hound of the Baskervilles."
What?
My Baskerville story? Of course, I had no idea what it was at the time. My father came in and...
Susato, what are you doing?
Oh, Father.
Did you look at those papers?
No, I simply read the label, that's all.
Well, put it out of your mind.
Sorry?
Forget that you ever saw it, and certainly don't tell anybody else about this. Do you understand? But what was Iris' manuscript doing in Japan?
I've no idea. When I heard Iris mention the word Baskerville that day, the title just slipped out. I would never have guessed. That was an unpublished account of one of Mr. Sholmes' exploits. When I returned to Japan, I asked Father to explain, but he refused to answer any of my questions. And there was no sign of the big box in his office. That's really all I know about it. I've no doubt that Father has a very good reason for being so secretive about it, but still, I made up my mind to explain myself to both of you. Well, thank you for being so honest, Susie.
Right. We're done.
So, Miss Naruhodo, I'm ready to start investigating if you are. I've committed every detail about the case to memory. And Iris has told me about the disturbing happenings at the Waxwork Museum as well.
So you're fully abreast of the situation already, Mr. Sato? I expect nothing less, to be honest.
I would think our first port of call should be to investigate this Mr. Draper, the engineer responsible for building the elaborate machine that was used to effect this extraordinary trick.
Yes, a conjurer of sorts by the sound of it, well known in the fields of science and magic.
Then we need to go and arrest him.
Well, yes, he must know the truth behind this case. So I agree we really do need to find the man.
It sounds like it's a case of tracking someone down. Which is a job for the police or a Greek detective.
Are we supposed to guess who she might be thinking of? We don't have much time. We need to get started straight away, I think.
Good idea. Well, best of luck then.
Oh, you're not coming today?
I'm going to Brixton Road shortly for the herb market. But let me know later how you got on, won't you? Won't you?
That was a little abrupt. The pull of the herb market must be strong. Right, let's move. New location. I can't go to prosecutor's office, apparently. Oh man, there's a lot of places to go. Let's go downstairs. Maybe we need to talk to Sholmes. There's no Sholmes. Very good then. Okay. And let's move on to experimentation stage. Yeah, so they say it landed on the crystal tower, but I don't see how this is landing on top of it. Like straight. which would like destroy the glasses and such. Doggy!
I had no idea there were so many people in the world.
I know what you mean. It's really packed here today.
It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point.
Has it? I shut my brain down so I didn't really notice, to be honest.
Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes now, Miss Naruhodo.
There you are. I had a feeling your lot would show your marks before long. Yeah, I knew it. It was Gregson. Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual. Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since last we met. What's with all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning. Not you, Sunshine. The gentlewoman so loyally at your side.
Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice.
He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more. Right, well, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi, get over here, Gina. Doggy! She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably giving a traditional is-and training.
Gina, she's a police officer now?
Amazing, isn't it? She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place. Anyway, she's got a detection bug, if you ask me. Yup, I think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely. What do you mean? I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodle to London. Oh no! Gregson's leaving.
Oh no, really?
It's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? We'll come to see how you're getting along. Haha, not likely. But you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is. What? To France? I'll be working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up in my alley. But you're from London. You're British. But France? It's an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why be sent there? That's the way the adult world works, Sunshine. You don't go poking your nose in where it's not wanted. I'm intending to take the kid with me when I go. What? You're taking Gina to Paris? Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what become of her? I suppose he's worried she'd slip back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses.
I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Miss Naruto. I think he's worried about the Reaper.
Oh, of course. So that's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it? Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of these to Gina, so don't go blabbing, you hear me? No, of course not. I gotta keep that diving diva safe and sound until all this is over, at least.
Oi! Did you call me a blooming diving diva again?
So you heard that, did ya? Right, well. Any questions about the scene? You can put them to my capable detective Diva here.
Alright, you heard the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now.
I suppose I'd better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you got a new dog, have you? Hey, so cute.
Isn't he great? Toby's his name. How delightful. It's absolutely adorable.
Yes, the dog does seem lovely. It's a not so lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Let's speak. Gina, we were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again.
Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like.
Oh, that's alright, is it?
I'm gonna be playing with me new friend here.
Ah, yes, Toby.
Whoa! The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Oh. It's like I told Odo yesterday, even I ain't allowed near that rack. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it? The Special
Dispensation for the Scientific Equipment Act. Is that what you were thinking of?
That's the one. That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The forensic something?
The Forensic Investigation Team. Is that what you were thinking of?
That's the one, yeah. But isn't it the case that the special dispensation has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful here. You're still supposed to get permission from some bigwig or other as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something?
Yes, Lord Strange. Lord Doctor Strange.
I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps? That's the one, yeah. Apparently he's always watching the time or something.
So without Lord Strongheart's express permission, we can't investigate on the stage. Today's trial.
It was great, wasn't it? I had a right laugh. It was a new one that made that. You know, being caught and not spending no time worrying about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, and all those made things odd for me every single time and all.
Just doing my job, Gina. Just doing my job.
But watching someone else getting the neck is a lot of fun. Actually, it was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix.
The dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruto's client. Yes, I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though.
It's the boss I feel sorry for, sent off to do the impossible.
What do you mean?
He's supposed to arrest that other cove, ain't he? Ain't time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer. What's his name, Ken?
Mr. Drebber, you mean? Enoch Drebber.
That's the one, yeah.
So the police are looking for this mysterious man with the black monocle. I guess they would be.
It's putting too much on the boss, if you ask me. He says it's giving him gut ache.
Oh dear. But I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food. Yes, those potatoes. So Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they had any luck.
He's really funny looking. Got two eyes what to match. Stole a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. The old devil's got it.
Sorry, who?
You know, that scowling ripper what's always glucking down glasses or that blood red plonk.
Ah, Lord Van Zix.
He's always at it for me, that cove. Don't know what he's always scowling about mine. Probably will be a pretty good boss as it goes.
Should rather be the Reaper's apprentice than a detective's trainee. The way I see it, if the choice is between a chip-guzzling detective and a chalice-guzzling demigod, you're equally badly off with both.
I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought of it like that.
Glad we put that one to bed.
Anyway, the point is, everyone at the yard stats I don't find the fishy engineer. But there don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck.
There's nothing that can lead us to Trevor at all. Where did you find that little mud then, Gina?
Oi, don't be so flaming rude, Odo.
Slight overreaction, don't you think?
He ain't no mud, alright? Toby's, did he put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective.
Sorry?
I've given him a proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you.
More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he?
Oh, so he's a police dog, is he?
The police recruit dogs now.
I heard they already been used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. You have a wonderful sense of smell after all.
I have a very good sense of smell myself, as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that haven't. What?
Ah, that's nothing compared to this little fellow, Odo.
Oh, really?
According to what the boss said, once Toby's here got a good whiff of your drawers, he could chase that scent to the other side of the world. He could chase the scent to the other side of the side of the world.
What? To the other side of the world? You mean can swim?
Mr. Naruto, I think you may have missed the point by rather a right margin.
I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill.
I'm telling you, Odo, there's gonna be more and more dogs doing their bit for the police in future. Yes, I agree. Right, one of these days they'll be barking orders at us lot, not the other way round.
Oh dear, sorry Gina, I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much.
Well, anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby is Britain's first police dog. I found him down East End the other day. Someone had just chucked him out of the street.
There you go. I knew she'd lifted him from somewhere.
Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? To children and to animals.
Alright, I guess that's that. We need to talk to... I don't think we have anything to examine. Right, nothing to examine. Let's just move. For the moment, at least. Let's go and talk to Lord Chief Justice. Lord Strong... Ooh! New character. Who is that? Who is that? On 3rd October, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office. Oh, who's that standing beside Lord Strongheart?
I wonder. I've never seen her before.
Ah, the young champion of the court. You had some success this morning, I understand. And you've thrown the entire government into disarray as a result.
Oh, you mean because of Professor Harebrain's experiment?
Sham science being demonstrated at London's great exhibition. The country's been made to look foolish, and now politicians are scrabbling to respond. Lord Van Zix is in Whitehall as we speak, giving an emergency briefing.
Oh dear, I didn't mean to cause any trouble.
None of this is your responsibility. The government is entirely to blame for having been taken in. The special dispensation that prevents investigation at the scene will be annulled later today. one that happens, my forensic investigation team will move in and deal with the scrap metal in no time. It's scrap metal now, is it? Very cool. Very cool. I'm gonna guess she's like maybe another prosecutor, maybe? How do I do her voice? Until later then, Lord Strongheart. Yes, thank you. Whoosh. Who was that? That was Dr. Courtney Sith, Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. Courtney Sith, okay. Very, very suspicious. What coincidence. Scotland Yard's esteemed chief coroner. She's leading the forensic investigation team's handling of this case. She was just delivering her report about the victim, in fact. Oh, I see. About Mr. Osmond. Following the outcome of the trial earlier, I asked the coroner's office to reevaluate its findings. I don't have time to tell you what she concluded. If you want to know, you have to ask her directly. You can find her in the forensics laboratory. Ah, right. Now, what were you here to see me about? I can give you 7 minutes and 39 seconds of my time. But he's not running quite so spectacularly late anymore. Alright, let's see what we have. What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before? The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it is imperative that we embrace forensic science and everything it has to offer. I first created a forensic investigation team a year ago now, unofficially of course, to pave the way. Goodness, a year ago? At next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. And once that happens, the position of the Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly. What do you mean? For too long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. But London scum is about to be rounded up and burnt in fires of hell. I intend to see it personally. By creating the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future. Look at those eyes. He means every word. Dr. Sith is an extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the forensics division at Scotland Yard, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Mikotoba. Oh, yes, my lord. Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan. Yes, that's right. I understand he will arrive at the beginning of next month. Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart? With Professor Mikotoba, I mean. It was many years ago now, but yes, I remember Dr. Mikotoba very well. If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago and now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student. It was the year I was born, so yes, 16 years ago in fact. Mikotoba was a young practitioner of forensic science and Jikoku accompanied him as a young, promising judge. The punctiliousness and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way. I didn't think that you were. Dr. Miko Toba studied forensics at one of London's large hospitals. St. Sinners, if I'm not mistaken. Dr. Sith was also there then, as it happens.
Then Dr. Sith knows my father, does he? Does she?
She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I've no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mokotoba was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total.
6 years? It's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it? I lived with my grandmother in those years.
So you left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years?
It was a rather turbulent time at home.
Oh.
Perhaps father wanted a reason to get away.
What do you mean? Why? Don't want to talk about it? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. Oh no. I wanted to ask you about Lord Van Zix actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as the Professor, who targeted nobles and royalty. Is that right? You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was the very incident that gave rise to the Reaper. What? Why? When his brother, Clint Van Zix, was murdered. It was just after a young Baroque had graduated from the University of London and become a prosecutor. All of his criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing. Rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that wherever Baroque Van Zix went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind.
Oh my word.
So, Lord Van Zix isn't the Reaper, but it's the ghost of his brother. Ever since that time, he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles.
Oh yes.
Lord Strongheart. Go ahead.
It's about Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains if possible.
Preferably something in written statement or as well, so that we can show people that we have gotten your approval. Are you well versed in science then?
Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently.
Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. C's team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing.
Thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing. And I'll be able to see it too.
Your time is up. You have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls.
We are extremely sorry to have troubled you when you are so busy, Mr. Lord. My lord.
I've important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium. You understand?
And he left. New location has been added. Experimentation, the forensics laboratory. Let's go back to experimentation stage first. Let's go up.
The stage up there is where the experiment was set up. It's very high, isn't it?
About 30 feet, I believe, or 9 meters if you prefer. Craning your neck to see up to it starts to hurt after a while, doesn't it?
Yes, we need to get up there and look around properly. Although if I'm honest, climbing all those stairs makes my chest hurt.
Oh dear, I think perhaps you should exercise more, Miss Naruhodo.
So how do I get up? I want to go up there. Oops. The Crystal Tower.
The Crystal Tower. I can't believe I'm seeing it at such close proximity with my own eyes.
You've really been looking forward to the great exhibition, haven't you, Mr. Sato?
Oh yes. When I found out that I had to return to Japan, I'm afraid I cursed my luck.
But here you are, back in London, gazing up at a magnificent tower.
I know. Perhaps I was wrong to curse my luck so harshly.
Alright. Oops. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Let me continue. Blah blah blah. Let's do this. I'm guessing I have to click on here.
Oi! That's off limits up there! Trying to sneak past me again, I'll stuff your gut full of the boss's fish and chips!
Yes, please. I love fish and chips. I suppose we need special permission. Which I got. Wait, did I have special permission? Do I have to like converse with you? Ah, apparently. Gina, we were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again.
Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like.
Oh, that's alright, is it? Wait, it's the same thing.
The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Sorry, you can't go up there.
Oh wait, it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. This one, yeah. I think so. The dog strange something. Yeah, block strong heart. We're watching all the time for something.
Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Strong.
We've recently been to see Lord Strongheart. I feel like that's not right. We've just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. We recently went to see Lord Strongheart, I think, right?
You what? You've met him? Last time the boss was called to go and see him, he waited for 3 hours at Cove's office and came back sniveling.
Tragic.
Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene as long as we touch nothing. Oh yeah?
Honestly.
Alright then, go ahead, but if it turns out you're lying, it'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life. So, you're still saying all this is above board, are ya? I'm sure everything will be fine.
It really would be tragic.
Alright then, them's the stairs. Off you go. Oh, thank you, Gina.
Let's go. Let's go and see what we can find out. The Great Exhibition Grounds, experimentation stage.
Oh my, so this is the machine. That was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place.
Yes, that's right. Rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment.
What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrain went into in order to obtain a research grant.
No. The professor was tricked as well. He didn't know anything about it.
Yes, of course. It is amazing though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British.
You're right about that. You never see such a grand deception in Japan, that's for sure.
Oh look, is that
Van Zieks?
Lord Van Zieks?
So, I think we're more or less done here, aren't we? Shall we, Miss Susato?
Already?
He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance, I think.
But we have permission to be here, from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine, as long as we don't touch anything.
From the top? Do you mean Lord Strongheart?
Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like.
She could have been at the center of the explosion here and wouldn't have bent her steel wheel. Alright, let's examine Lord Van Zieks. Ugh, this approachable man in the world's winner. 10 years in a row.
Be strong, Mr. Naruto. Your country and assistants stand firm behind you.
Lord Van Zieks? What? Well, beautiful weather we're having, isn't it? I thought I was making it quite clear I didn't want to be disturbed. Apparently you Nipponese are equipped to read the signs. Oh, I read them. So, what are you doing here? Entry to this area is prohibited. Well, the thing is...
Lord Chief Justice Strongheart granted us permission to investigate, on the condition that we didn't disturb anything.
And yet you've managed to disturb me. Never mind. State your business then. Come to think of it, there are quite a few things I'd like to ask Lord Van Zieks about. Not least of which is that awful case, even though it's nothing to do with this.
Ask away, Mr. Naruto. You won't know unless you try.
Your brother Clint. Totally appropriate to ask. So, Clint. What's the name of your older brother? I understand, Lord Van Zieks? You Nipponese. I always have to be on guard whenever you're around. So, you've been investigating me, have you? Oh, no, it's not like that. Well, alright, it is a bit like that. My older brother was also a prosecutor. He was the pride of the Van Zieks family. But tragically, a vicious killer took him from us. The professor, you mean? Heh. Oh man, I never heard Van Zieks laugh. Is something funny? That's the extent of what you've discovered, is it? I shouldn't be surprised. Sorry? There's more to it then. Lackluster work is very much your trademark, isn't it? Ugh, you're too kind. Are you going to tar all Nipponese with the same brush next? Yep, you racist bastard. So tell me, what's your interest in that historic incident?
As it happens, Lord Van Zieks, there's a rather curious case that's come to our attention. Are you aware of the Madame Tussauds Museum of Waxwork by any chance?
I am, naturally. I believe that since the last month, I featured in one of those displays there for public scorn. Of course, The infamous Reaper of Bailey would have to be exhibited, wouldn't he?
Well, a particular waxwork has been stolen from the place and held for ransom.
A particular waxwork, which... Wait, do you mean?
Yes, it's the professor. Mr. Sholmes is investigating the case as we speak.
I was unaware of that.
It's turned as white as a sheet. Are the police trying to locate the engineer, Mr. Drebber? Are the police trying to locate the engineer? The engineer, Mr. Drebber. Are you already? That's a weird sentence.
Surely that goes without saying.
We're very keen to see him found as well. The trouble is, we don't have much to go on aside from the description of the man we heard in court earlier. Which, according to Professor Harebrain, was of a tall, thin gentleman who has straight, white hair and wears a black monocle. So, I was just wondering, I realize it's probably not possible, but we'd very much appreciate any more clues you can give us. Wow, Susato-san really knows how to take the bull by the horns.
Fine, why not? I have a photograph of the man here from an investigation 10 years ago.
Wow.
Though it appears he already had that black monocle at the time.
Sephiroth!
What?
Oh, no, nothing. I was just surprised that you shared that with us.
We all need the man's testimony in court tomorrow, which means we have to do everything we possibly can to track him down in a short time available. So why would I show you the photograph?
What is it about Lord Van Zieks? Sometimes I just can't work him out at all. The photograph of Treb has been added in the court record. Well, he's a good-looking man, at least.
Ah, the file I requested for the trial tomorrow. Thank you.
Are you alright? Who is this man, Miss Naruto? Lord Van Zieks' apprentice, apparently. So I'm not the only one. Susato-san can see it too. Lord Van Zieks, may we speak with your apprentice for a moment?
With him? Why?
Disappear. Kazuma-sama. Ooh.
Kazu. Kazu.
How do I do his voice again?
Kazu. Ma.
I don't believe it. Your posture, your presence, it can only be. It's you, isn't it, Kazuma-sama? I felt something strange the very first time I encountered this cloaked figure. As if I knew him somehow. Kazuma is not dead! Can it really be you, Kazuma? And he disappeared. Wait! Too late.
What's going on here? What is your interest in my apprentice exactly? You act as if you know the man or something.
Well, since when has he been in your care? I don't recall you having an apprentice before I left Britain 6 months ago.
Lord Strongheart introduced him to to me about 3 months ago now, with instructions to mentor him as a prosecutor.
But he didn't tell you why, did he?
The man appears to be suffering from amnesia. He's forgotten every last detail about himself.
He has amnesia?
How convenient. Tomorrow he will appear in court at my side.
What?
He's to serve as my judicial assistant on Lord Strongheart's orders.
He'll be in court with us?
Now then, unless I'm much mistaken, I believe this conversation has run its course.
Oh, yes, thank you. I think we saw a reaction there. When Susato-san called out like that, it really seemed to hit a nerve. When she called out Kazuma-sama. Okay. Let's look at the contraption again. What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders have buckled and twisted in the blast. And what they call the birdcage was right in the middle of it all, just here. But look, Mrs. Naruto, the metal grill on the floor. Looks as though it's designed to open. It does, doesn't it? If the floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion occurred, the birdcage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight. I don't think there's any doubt that this is very elaborate hoax, is there? Okay. What's this? I saw it was not here before. This wasn't here yesterday. Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air. That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Harebrain said in court, it's made of wood. One more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think. Cypress. Despite having been in an explosion and falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruto? I'd understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they finished their work. What? But sadly not with the body inside it. No, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still, this is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. How did you take it with you? How did you take the birdcage with you? Is that all? Okay, that's all. You already met that masked man, hadn't you, Miss Naruto? Yes, yesterday, in fact, at Lord Van Ziek's office. I see. And if Kazuma-sama really is still alive, it means that Mr. Sholmes lied to us. I know. We're going to need to speak to him about that. You're going to have to leave now. The forensic investigation team are due to arrive shortly. So yeah, let me check the thing now. That's most likely going to be something. What's this? Ah, look here, Mr. Sato. Oh yes, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height? Yes. From the height at which the balloon was flying down into the crystal tower below. A fall of about 30 feet or 9 meters. Leaving the man inside tragically dead. Okay. So it broke like that. I don't think there's anything else to examine other than that. There's a hole here, but it's probably in relation to the impact below. Nothing we can really examine then. Yep. Anyhow, let's continue then. If they find you here, it will cause
Problems. What sort of problems? Foreign affairs problems. Well, we could do without that. All right, we'll be on our way. Let's go, Mr. Sato.
Of course.
And we're just investigating here and then everywhere, apparently. Right, let's go to the forensic laboratory now. Ooh, nice. Very gothic, very English and gothic. I say that again. I already say that. I believe this is it. Dr. Sith's laboratory. Is this some kind of pun? Sith. Courtney Sith. Courtney Sith. Courtney Sith. Courtney Siths? No idea. Not sure what pun it would be. Dr. Sith's laboratory. That chemical smell really assaults the nose. It's plenty to assault the eyes in here too.
It looks as though the doctor isn't here. But we're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think?
What a seasoned tourist we've become, Mr. Sato. We could just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. Right. Oh, it's definitely quiet in here. Let's look at, well, it's Halloween. A bird. It looks like an owl and a crow up there. I know, and they haven't even twitched since we came in here.
Well, no, they wouldn't have. They're taxidermy mounts, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ugh, I was afraid you were going to say that. I've been trying very hard to tell myself they're just sleeping with their eyes closed.
Yes, I think perhaps you were wise to put something like your Daruma doll on display in the office instead.
It's skeleton. Well, look at this. What a magnificent display case. Cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they?
Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Miss Naruhodo?
Miss Susato, can't you tell I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? It's how I cope.
I'll be sure to remember that from now on.
Hey, look at someone else's diary. Look at this big, thick book here.
It appears to be an accounting ledger. The record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh.
What is it?
It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but... well, one entry seems rather strange.
Really? In what way?
They are buying 500 scalpels every month.
500? They must be working really hard on these dissecting corpses.
I don't know. Judicial autopsies are only carried out in certain special circumstances, and scalpel blades can be sharpened too.
It does seem a bit strange. You're right. 500 scalpels a month. What could they possibly be using all of them for? Right, I guess we've done examining. What are you doing here? Ah! Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so
So you thought you'd snoop around here? That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want?
Lord Strongheart told us, you see, it was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Osman's body, I mean.
So we came to ask you about your findings. Lord Strongheart's advice. Very well. If the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigations revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately.
Alright, let's talk to this cool looking character.
So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene? The victim, Mr. Odio Asmund, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion. And a Mr. Asmund who appeared moments later partway up the crystal tower. Were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion.
But it can't be, right?
It was an elaborate trick. We can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see. If two people who looked very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true, but sadly in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident.
Ah, fingerprints.
They are not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system. One day, they will be used as investigative aid as a matter of course. Oh my, but that would mean that instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions.
Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, and yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery. Ooh, another character. Damn, there's so many characters.
Mama, what is this?
Where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama?
This is a lawyer, dear.
Oh. Hello? To meet you? Pleased to meet you? Yes, I'm a defense lawyer.
Mama? Yes. Can I cut this one up?
What? Oh shit.
I've never seen inside an instant person before. I want to know what it looks like.
Of course you can't.
It's a live specimen, as you can very well see. Huh. Boring.
Okay. I think I just had a near-death experience.
Oh dear, Miss Naruto, you're as pale as a corpse.
And let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. Right, let's leave, I guess. Madden to spell?
Oh my, no wonder it's called the House of Horrors. I like to turn on my heels and go straight home via the confectionery.
Being scared makes you crave sweets. I can understand that.
I was looking forward to a reunion after 6 months away, but there's no sign of Mr. Sholmes anywhere.
That's strange. We should be here investigating the abduction of the waxwork. Oh well, I suppose we just have to come back again later. Also, there's no one here yet, apparently. Yep, no one is here. Alright, let's leave then. Let's go visit our accused. Oh my god. Local prison. What's he doing?
He's... oh my! The whole wall of cells is covered in mathematical equations. and still writing more, and he's still writing more now. And Professor, sorry to interrupt. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. And who is this young lady? My name is Susaru Mikotoba. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. Oh, if only I'd met a refined young woman like you sooner. None of this would have happened. No, that's not logical. That makes no sense at all. Oh dear, I'm so sorry if my presence here upsets you. I owe you an apology too, Professor. I didn't manage to deliver what I promised you I would in court this morning. Oh no. The whole thing, the whole miserable affairs. It all happened because I've been such a complete and utter clot. Professor Harebrained, what have you been working on in your cell? Oh, you mean that? Oh dear, how embarrassing. I was suddenly struck by an idea, you see, and I simply had to write it down. The wall was all I had to hand. Oh, is it some new hypothesis? Something to surpass super high voltage instantaneous kinesis, maybe? Ah, no, actually, this is my autobiography. Your autobiography? How I was diddled and fiddled by Albert Harebrained. I've found I can represent by odd fortune with odd numbers and an ambitious set of simultaneous equations. Really? I'm going to have to pay all the loans I took for the kinesis machine, you see. So it's going to be a new serial publication from next month. Part 1, an odd birth, an odd upbringing. You can't beat the man's optimism, that's for sure. I see. Well, for now, would you mind if we would talk a little more about the case? Oh yes, of course. I've been working through the numbers. I was diddled, I was fiddled by the pair of them, For Shizel, my Nizel. By husband, and by that aloof engineer Driver. We're not going to have to sit through an explanation of all these equations, are we? Converse. Everything I've believed in has been turned on its head. My research, my miasma, the kinesis machine, my hypothesis, even. I'm sorry it's come to this. There was really no other way. No, it's not your fault. I wanted to protect my work, but in the end there was nothing worth protecting. It was never my intention to deceive anyone. I didn't want to trick the public. No, of course you didn't. But in court this morning I realized something. Oh? If you've done something wrong without knowing it, you've still done something wrong. Logically, it makes no difference if you were aware of it or not. Ignorance is a poor excuse. The blame still lies with me. Oh, Professor. You believed in me this morning, you know. Baroque did. You believe in my hypothesis. Well, I think it was just a necessary factor in the prosecution establishing its case. No. Baroque would not do something like that. I'm sure he genuinely believed it. Did he? I think I understand now. Why was that it decided to take on the prosecution my trial? I mean... Whoosh. Oh man, you have a lot of things to say. After the terrible accident happened, nobody would believe in my hypothesis anymore. Not the police, not the prosecution service, not the lawyers even. I feel like I'm dealt some kind of finishing blow there. So if any prosecutor had taken the case, if it was anyone other than Baroque, I'm sure the prosecution would have declared my hypothesis a complete and utter nonsense. And in that case, you would have been declared a fraud yourself, Professor. Exactly, which would have been a fate worse than death for me. But Baruch insisted I was a proper man of science from start to finish.
You think that's why he?
I know him very well indeed. He's an extremely kind-hearted soul. But the extremely kind-hearted soul spent all morning trying to paint you as a murderer, didn't he? Well, admittedly, that part of the analysis appears to have some flaws in it.
And what about the whole Reaper side of things? How does it fit in with the kind-hearted soul idea? Alright.
Do you think he set out to trick me from the very start?
I'm sorry to say that does seem likely. Yes.
When I first met him, he introduced himself as a wealthy financier. He looked over the paper I'd written and said my work would benefit all humanity and must be pursued. He was so enthused. He was so empathic.
But in reality, he was the mastermind of some vast criminal network, it seems.
I still can't believe it.
As the machine was essentially a set decoration for some stage magic, it probably didn't require a large amount of investment actually, but the scale of it wasn't just some small trick. It was a very elaborate feat of deception.
All young scientists are full of hope about their burgeoning ideas, full of zeal. But none of us have any money. We want to do research, but we can't afford it. Many of us take on barely legal part-time work to try to earn such a few measly pennies to carry on. To go through all of that, only to be taken for a complete fool. It's too rotten to believe.
It is, I agree. And that's why we have to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Miss Asman is no more, of course, which leaves only the engineer. Mr. Enoch Trapper. Is he an engineer or a magician or a swindler?
It was about a year ago when Miss Asman first brought Trapper to meet me at my laboratory. Since then, I've met him many times to discuss details about the Kinesis machine. But at no point did you have any inkling that he was just an illusionist. Oh, he definitely wasn't just an illusionist.
What do you mean?
He was a wealth of deep scientific knowledge. There's no question that the man's a genuine scientist. It's instantly apparent in conversation.
I see.
But the wretched man deceived you, Professor. It's unforgivable. We must do everything we can to find him, bring him to justice. And are there no more clues you can give us as to his whereabouts? I'm sorry. We only ever discussed the Kinesis machine, nothing else. Although, just once, I did visit his workshop.
What workshop?
Draper's enormous fabrication laboratory, where he constructed my great machine.
Why didn't you mention this before? Draper's workshop. There's every chance we might find the man there. So you've been to Draper's place of work then?
Yes, just once, you understand. It was an enormous place. Plenty of room to construct a Kinesis machine, you see.
Where can we find it? We have to go there at once. There's a good chance that we'll find Draper there.
Well, yes, definitely, I'm sure. I'm sure you're not going to want to hear this. But I have absolutely no idea where the workshop is at all. I'm sorry! I was more than half expecting that. You see, I was blindfolded in the carriage to enter the way there. He blindfolded you? He wasn't taking any chances then. The place was incredible. The pinnacle of modern engineering. Even the oil he used was the very best. A special French machine oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Ah, the indescribable scent of that imported oil. Perfumers across the world should forget their secret formula and use that instead. What do you think, Mr. Sato? The machine for your next birthday? Or the machine? Wait, isn't that water for the machine? What machine water? I've never used any kind of perfume, Miss Naruhodo, and I'm not sure I'd like to start with that. I don't suppose you know even part of Bookshop's address, Professor. You don't have a business card from Mr. Trevor, for example. The man was clearly very cautious, Mr. Sato, I'm sure. Ah! Yes, I do. He gave me his business card once. It's right here, look. Let me see, right now. Throw etiquette to the wind, why don't you? Enoch Trapper, engineer. I'm afraid that's all it says. There's no address. No, oh well. No, oh well. I guess I can't say I'm surprised. Still, this could be useful. Let's see why is it useful? Ah, what's this? This dark smudge here. I think perhaps it's machine oil. Ah, yes, possibly. Professor Harebrain mentioned something about oil Mr. Draper uses, didn't he? He said it was a special important, very high quality oil that's impossible to obtain in Britain. Yes, that's right. But more importantly, it's more fragrant than the finest perfume. So excuse me a moment. Oh, it doesn't appear to have any scent at all. Don't worry. I expect that's because there's such a tiny amount of it on here. Smear machine oil on the reverse. Yep, I think other than that, I don't think there's anything else. Looks like it's just a piece of card that he wrote things on. Should I present you? I confirm. Is this really Enoch Driver that you saw? Professor Harry, what do you make of this? No. Yep, you don't want to look at the picture, I guess. Okay then. Dun, 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 dun. Let's present you the wooden birdcage. No, you don't want to look at the wooden birdcage as well. Okay then, okay. I guess nothing else. What about this crossbow? Would you look at it? No, you don't want to look at it as well. Okay, okay, okay. Fine, fine. We'll leave then. We'll leave you. We have... Let's go back here. Showroom suite. Yeah, no one's here. Okay then. Pattern to spell. Forensic laboratory. Can I come over here? Can I talk to you? So what are you doing at the moment, Doctor? Keeping a close eye on things so no impertinent Easterners think they can look around on my office. Are there such impertinent incidents around? How terrible! Yes, you. She doesn't mince her words, Mrs. Sato. I think perhaps it's time we left. Okay, we can't talk to her. Madam to spell? No, apparently not. Experimentation stage? Oh, wait a moment. Okay, let's continue. I don't think... who can we talk to? I don't think we have anything here. Oh! This? Ah! About this, Gina. Yeah, I'm still learning me letters at the moment. I only know A to E, so if he ain't too much bleeding trouble... actually, Gina, it's the back of the card that's important. How come? It's just a dirty old smudge on the back, that's all. It turns out that this is a very high quality French machine oil. It has a very particular scent, apparently. You don't say. Let's have a whiff then. You sure? I don't smell nothing. No, we didn't mean that you should smell it. Oh, right. You mean Toby. Wow. His sense of smell is so good he can track people over the oceans, can't he? Professor Habrain informs us that this oil is unique to Miss Draper's workshop. Sniff, sniff, sniff. Sniff, sniff, sniff. I think he's picked up a scent. So you mean if he follows the scent of all this oil, Toby could lead us to that dodgy Cove's workshop? That's right. That's exactly what we are hoping. Alright then, we'll give it a go. I'll just borrow that. What? Wait, when did you? Once a big pocket. Once a big pocket. If I can lead everyone to that Draper's workshop, I'll be the boss's boss before next week. Oh yes, Gina. I'm sure you'll be promoted. Poor Gregson. Right then, Odo. Leave it to me. Sorry? We're gonna get going after that dodgy engineer Cove right this minute. But hang on. Someone's supposed to be on guard here all the time. I'm afraid we can't help. We need to get on with our investigations as well, Gina. Oh, right. Oh well, never mind. It ain't gonna be me what gets in the neck. It will be the boss. Poor Gregson again. Ready, Toby? Got that oil scent? Have ya? Come on then, boy. See you later. I do hope the scent of that oil leads them to that swindler's workshop. Yes, I hope so too. Ideally before the dog swims across the channel to France. Well, I think we've done all the investigation we can here for now. Yay! If we could just determine the whereabouts of Mr. Draper. I'm sure Gina and the little Toby won't let us down. Now then, do you think we ought to try to speak with Mr. Sholmes at this point? We have things to discuss and I'm dying to meet him again after all these months. Yes, it's quite possible he might know something useful. You're right. We ought to find him at Madame Tuspel's. He's supposed to be working there as a temporary waxwork exhibit. Yes, Iris told me all about his latest unusual venture.
Right, let's do that. I guess this is the final place to go. We're gonna be seeing Madame Tuspel as well, which is nice. I'm gonna pretend Madame Tuspel is Cardon. If she is here, of course.
Here we are again, at the House of Horrors. I'm afraid I haven't got used to the place yet. I'd still like to turn on my heels and go straight home, via the confectionery, of course.
Susato-san really is after something sweet today, isn't she?
Eek!
What's the matter?
Look, Miss Naruto, look at that waxwork.
I'm quite sure
it wasn't there before.
Hey, it's Jones!
It looks exactly like Mr. Sholmes down the very last detail.
Aha!
What is it?
Oh, sorry. I think you'll find that's the temporary waxwork himself. Wanna kick him in the balls? The spells!
Ah, the friend of my dedicated employee.
Oh yes, hello again. It's Ryunosuke Naruto.
I must say, I'm quite spellbound by the great detective. He is a marvel.
Marvel?
My precious waxwork is already back where it belongs.
You don't mean?
But yes, the mystery is solved already.
Wow, Mr. Jones can really engage his brain when he's hungry enough.
So, as you can see, he has returned to his habitual duties.
Yes.
His habitual duties? Duties? Alors, do not disturb,
Poor Susato-san, she looks very perplexed. So we're Dr. Madame Tuspel? Or what? Or, yes, the heavy curtains in the middle of the House of Horrors. Whatever's on the other side of them, you just know it's going to be terrifying, don't you? Terrifying.
The sign says the Madame Tuspel's a special exhibit. Seems you have to pay extra to go inside.
I know, can you believe that? Pay more money. So we haven't been scared enough already.
It's not my doing, Mr. Naruto. We really do need to speak with Mr. Sholmes, and I am longing to say hello again. Where is he?
I think you might find that he's quite nearby, actually.
Oh, what do you...
Indeed, my dear fellow, it is I! The world-famous great detective and waxwork, Sherlock Sholmes. Oh no, Susato-san! Susato-san! You scared her to death, old Sholmes. My most humble apologies.
I thought I'd died and gone to eternal paradise for a moment via London.
My dear madam, allow me to make amends by offering you a tasty free deduction at some point. As long as it's not of questionable street food quality.
I don't understand. Why are you working as a waxwork here, Mr. Sholmes?
Because I'm poor. Merely a secret identity, you understand? Though the case is largely solved now.
Largely solved?
We're talking about a waxwork abduction, I presume? Indeed we are, my good fellow. As I predicted, it was as easy as proverbial pie. Though I confess, I'm yet to partake of a pie, proverbial or otherwise, or any food so far today for that matter. Man, that rumbling, stomach rumbling sound. That stomach rumble echoed around the whole museum. So how did you manage to solve it so quickly? Ah, well, do remember I said it was largely solved, not completely. Anyway, I simply negotiated with the culprit. Are you familiar with the so-called telephone? Oh yes, it's a most modern invention, allowing you to hold conversation with people far away. In Japan, only an imperial capital and a handful of other cities are connected as such. This morning, a telephone call was received here from the perpetrator of the abduction. As such, I was able to negotiate terms, and in the end, the waxwork was returned. That's amazing. Just between you and I, it would appear the culprit had always intended to return the stolen waxwork in any event. Oh, but I thought whoever was responsible had demanded a ransom, no? Yes, I think perhaps the ransom demand was necessary to avoid unwanted suspicion regarding the true motive. But does that not mean your negotiating was entirely unnecessary? A fact I must ask you to keep from Madame Tussauds at all costs. A hungry young Iris awaits my return to Baker Street, after all. Poor Iris. Now then, do I sense that you have some business with this great waxwork? Right, let's talk. Enoch Drebber. We're in the process of trying to track somebody down. Oh. Yes, a man by the name of Enoch Drebber. He's the swindler who duped Professor Harebrain and an engineer who built the Kinesis machine. A swindler and an engineer. Quite a modern man. He also seems to be a conjurer of sorts too, with considerable knowledge of stage magic. Really need to locate him before the trial resumes tomorrow morning. But we have so few clues to go on. That's the trouble. Do you have any good ideas? I have no data yet. It is a capable mistake to have good ideas before one has data. If I knew something of the man's appearance, at least I may be in a better position to help. Yes, Trevor's appearance. Fortunately for you, however, presently I have little to occupy myself, and little to fill my stomach. As soon as you find any clue, no matter how small, I should gladly give you my thoughts on it. Alright. Mr. Sholmes, did you lie to us? My dear Mr. Naruto, stay that piercing stare. What is this about? Last winter, we were first on our way to Britain aboard the steamship. Your words were very clear. So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events to this curious murder. You told us that it was a murder, and you examined Kazuma's body. Indeed, and wherein lies the problem? We met him earlier today, the victim, Kazuma Aosogi. You're quite sure? He was wearing some sort of mask and was apparently suffering from amnesia. But yes, I'm quite sure. It was Kazuma-sama. You must have known at the time, Mr. Sholmes, that he wasn't actually dead. Well, I can only assume I was swept up in the murderous atmosphere of the moment. But the fellow wasn't dead at all. Priceless.
I don't suppose that performance would pass muster, would it, Mr. Naruhodo? I could believe that crewman present at the time made a mistake, but not you, Mr. Sholmes. I will now tell you something of the first importance, my dear fellow. Great detectives are wont to lie. It will serve you well to remember that. Please, Mr. Sholmes. Tomorrow in court, you'll find yourself on the threshold of a very great mystery. For now, I'm afraid that is all I can say. Right, alright. Keep your secrets. Let me show you this picture though. Mr. Sholmes, would you cast your eyes over this photographic print? It's of Mr. Enoch Trapper, the face of the engineer we seek. Well, all Englishmen look broadly the same, of course, so looking at a photograph won't be particularly instructive. Are you alright, Mr. Sholmes? Ah, yes, forgive me. Very interesting this. Very interesting. This. Very interesting indeed. What's wrong, Mrs. Sholmes? You've turned quite pale all of a sudden. Bing boom boom boom. I have a suggestion, Miss Naruhodo. Will you indulge me? Oh, well, what is it? As I explained to you when you arrived, the missing waxwork has been returned, and I personally reinstalled it in the exhibit from which it was taken, behind those thick curtains. Oh yes, the Professor exhibit, isn't it? Would you like to see it? For a mere 5 shillings, that's a special one-time only price, you understand? What? The opportunity won't come again, I might add. Wouldn't you like to see the fruits of my labor? Oh, well, we do have a rather pressing investigation to carry out. Perhaps we could postpone. The price is a very reasonable 5 shillings. I think you'll find it's well worth it. Are you being quite serious, Mr. Sholmes? Surely you need only to look at my expression, ascertain if this is seriousness or silliness. I can never tell you that's the point, you know. Very well, it couldn't hurt. Here's your 5 shillings. Gratefully received. So, the special exhibit awaits behind the curtain. I invite you to peruse it at your leisure. Right. I'm guessing the Professor Waxwork looks like our friend, not our friend, our missing person, Enoch Trapper. Well, the money's been spent, so let's go and see the special exhibit. Through those heavy curtains at last. Let's go. Oh, there's another area, isn't it? 5 shillings we have to pay. Doesn't seem right somehow that Mr. Sholmes slipped the money into his own pocket, does it? No. Ah, we could ask Gina to retrieve it for us, using her special skills. Pickpocketing police officers, diddling detectives. This is what makes Britain great. Not to mention demigod prosecutors taking the law into their own hands, or chip-loving inspectors. Inspector Gregson comes off rather well in that list, I think. Right, man, there's a lot to these investigations. Balance to spells, special exhibit. Ugh. So it's missing a head though.
Wait, who? Oh no, who is that?
Oh dear, I felt a shiver run down my spine as soon as we walked in here.
Mr. Sato! So we turn our heels and go straight home. They're a really big confectionery.
We certainly can't do that. We paid 5 shillings already.
True. Actually, now I'm looking a little more closely. We've paid good money to see an exhibit that's clearly incomplete. The nerve of the great diddling detective is far more terrifying than anything else in this place. This must be what Mr. Sholmes meant when he said the case was largely solved. Be that as it may, Mr. Sholmes heavily implied there'd be a clue about the engineer in here, isn't he? But where? Since we paid 5 shillings, let's do 5 shillings worth of investigation, shall we?
Yes, we will get what we paid for.
Is that fear or frustration that's making Susato-san's voice tremble? Alright, let's examine this guy first.
This part of the exhibit is just as disturbing as the rest. It looks so real.
It seems to be a young man in a white overcoat.
And he has a large shovel in his hand too. Look.
Perhaps we should investigate in a little more detail. Okay. Camera. What's this here?
Well, this would appear to be a lens in the middle, so I believe it's probably a camera.
Ah, a camera? But it's so small. British technology is credible, isn't it? I mean, what about Mrs. Sholmes' skin prints?
I think perhaps you should treat Mrs. Sholmes' invention as exceptions to the rule. But anyway, why would the man be in a graveyard at night with a camera?
I wonder. Perhaps he was trying to capture the moment a dead body came back as a ghost on film?
We'll just borrow this for a little while, I think.
What? What?
By looking at the photographic plate inside the camera, you can see what picture was taken.
What's a photographic plate?
It's a piece of glass coated in a special emulsion that reacts to the light coming in through the lens. If we open the cover at the back of the camera, we should find it. Let's have a look.
You should see yourself, Susato-san. Your eyes are shining. You really do like machinery, don't you? Let's investigate more. I don't think anything about light. What about a face? I can't see his face very well, can you? Perhaps if I just...
Oh, do you think you should be manhandling the exhibition, Miss Naruto?
I'll put it back exactly it was, don't worry.
Enoch Trevor!
Ah! What on earth?
What on earth? How can...
I don't believe it. A black monocle.
Mr. Naruto, is it possible that this man is...
Yes. It's Enoch Trevor. The color of his hair is different, but it's unmistakably him. Indeed it is. Mr. Sholmes, this man is the subject of your present hunt, I believe. Yes, that's right. Just who is this man? Why is he here in this exhibit? And why does the convict behind him have no head? The head was missing when the model was returned by the thief who stole it. What a surprise. So then the case isn't yet solved, is it? Dare I not say so myself, largely solved with my words, I believe. But I must locate the missing head tout de suite, as Madame would say, or I'll be in grave trouble. A very hungry Irish still awaits my return to Baker Street, preferably with rations.
Ah. Do you know, though, something about this room is strange?
Strange? What do you mean?
Well, the displays in the House of Horror are supposed to depict real events, are they not?
Indeed, they are, Mrs. Haru.
Do go on. And as terrifying as they are, the scenes in the other exhibits are believable. But this one, this surely couldn't ever really have happened, could it?
I think it's time I educated you a little about the nature of the incidents involving the professor 10 years ago. The resurrecting convict. I believe I told you a little about the professor yesterday, did I not? He took the lives of 5 victims, everyone being either a member of the aristocracy or royalty. All were attacked by an enormous hunting hound and had their throats ripped from their bodies.
My gosh, enormous hound? How awful.
After taking the life of his 5th victim, the killer was apprehended. It was a case of unprecedented magnitude in Britain, you understand, accordingly. The professor was tried in a closed court. No members of the public were permitted.
A closed court?
So you mean that professor's identity? As you've surmised, my dear fellow, his identity was never made public. Naturally, he was found guilty and was summarily sentenced to death by hanging. He was buried in a grave at Lowgate Cemetery, which adjoins near the rear of the prison where he had been held. However, that was not the end of the affair.
Oh.
The very night that he was buried, the convicted man came back to life. Came back to life? He clawed his way out of the ground, emerged into the moonlit graveyard. The exhibit here depicts that very scene, as described by the sole witness to those chilling events. There was a scene, there was a witness, but of course, my dear fellow, it was none other than the young man in the white overcoat. Enoch Trevor. He saw it happen. I'm assuming that is not what happened. Enoch Trevor is probably somehow involved with the professor. So this is a waxwork model of Enoch Trevor. 10 years ago, the convicted professor, having been gibbeted and buried, emerged from his grave in the dead of night. The sole witness to that unimaginable scene was this young man. From appearances, I would say he was about 20 years old.
It's so horrifying.
Scared out of his wits, the young driver ran to a nearby police station to report the incident. And the sheer terror of what he'd seen is said to have turned his hair white overnight. Oh, okay. Yes, as shown in the photograph we have of him, his hair is completely white. For the following few days, the story of what he'd seen was on every front page in the capital. The public was frantic for every last detail about the killer would come back to life. As you've seen, an exhibit was even created here at Madame Tussauds. I can quite understand why the man's hair turned white suddenly, but what I don't understand is what Mr. Trevor was doing in the first place, in a lonely graveyard in the middle of night. Yes, what was he up to? Following the execution, the professor's act of terror threw London's upper classes into complete panic 10 years ago. It was a great scandal, one might say, at the very highest levels of society.
And since the killer's identity was never made public, rumors abounded. After all, no killer had ever before systematically employed a dog as a weapon of murder. Yes, I can imagine the impact the case must have had. But in time, of course, the rumors abated. So too did talk of a shocking witness, account of the convict who came back to life. It was forgotten, dismissed as a dubious ghost story, as a preposterous parlor tale. But why did people stop believing it? Why? Simply because there was no resurrection to speak of. It was established in fact. What? What do you mean by no resurrection? The police investigated the grave in Lowgate Cemetery and published their findings. The convict's body was found to be buried exactly where it had been following the execution. No, but that would mean Mr. Trevor must have lied to the police and the newspapers. That would appear to be the only logical explanation. Yes. The young man subsequently vanished from society and has not been heard of since. It's rather striking, then, that he should resurface now, don't you think? Of course, the convicted murderer couldn't really have come back to life. That's not possible. But Trevor's hair is unusually white. If that really did happen overnight as a result of shock, it's hard to believe that the incident was an out-and-out lie. Okay, examine this. This must be the killer, the fiend known as the Professor. Yes, I think so. According to what Madame Tuspel said, he killed 5 victims, all of noble royal blood. The waxwork is so lifelike, isn't it? Like all the models in this place. I know, it looks like it could start moving at any moment, doesn't it? If only it had a head, that is. Perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. Right. This. So this is the condemned. This is the condemned man. Yes, the so-called professor. Then perhaps, yes, his head was chopped up by a guillotine. But unable to find peace, he emerged from his grave as a headless ghost. Do we have to entertain such terrifying ideas, Mr. Sato? Anyway, I'm sure the model had a head once. There's a matter fitting for it, see? Then perhaps Mr. Sholmes absent-mindedly forgot to retouch it. That's an extremely absent-minded detective you're describing, isn't it? Or perhaps the thief absent-mindedly forgot to include the head when he or she returned it to the museum. And that would be an extremely absent-minded thief. Could there have been some reason why only the head wasn't returned? Well, whatever the reason, it means we don't know what the face of the infamous professor looked like, do we? Oh. There's something caught just inside the convict's jacket. It looks like a piece of broken glass, and quite a big piece too. It's very thick, isn't it? About 5 times thicker than a normal window glazing, I'd say. Where could such a thick piece of glass have come from, I wonder? I suppose it must have been made thick to increase its strength. But why? Well, perhaps because the glass had to span a particularly wide area, such as in a big building, for example. Ah, well, we've seen a large glass building recently, haven't we? And some of the glass was broken too. You don't mean? Exactly. The Crystal Tower at a great exhibition. But why would glass from Crystal Tower be lodged inside a waxwork's jacket? It makes you think, doesn't it? Piece of broken glass has been Earlier in court, we established that the kinesis experiment was a trick, and now we discover this fragment of glass here in this waxwork.
Is it just a coincidence? Let's look at the glass. I don't think we have anything. This piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide. Yes, I've never seen anything like it. If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sherms has such thick skin. Man. There's really no need for such a comparison, Mrs. Naruto, as you well know. Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely? Yes, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of that great structure. Yeah, so I don't think there's anything to really examine. But of course there's also the camera. Let's look at the camera. Oh look! Oh look, the cover came open. Yes, now, there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see? Is something wrong? There is no plate. It's been removed. Oh, what a pity. But I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. So we never have found a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway. Oh yes, you're quite right, of course. Poor Susato-san, she looks devastated. Okay, but what else can we investigate about this? Apparently nothing. Let's have a lens. Oh! Blood though! What a wonderful machine! You really love contraptions like this, don't you? Oh yes, anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible. Almost irresistible, surely? Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart. That's, worrying. Yes, father tells the time by the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch. Poor Professor Bikotoba. Let's look at it. Look at the blood. Look, Mr. Naruto. What is it? On the bellows, just here, seem to be some very dark red stains. Yes, you're right. It looks like blood, actually. Oh my. I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Ha 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 ha. Dark staining is visible on the bellows. Okay, I'm guessing that's that. Right, we can not do anything anymore. Alright, we've done investigating. What the bleeding Nora? Odo, what have you gone and done? Gina, what are you doing here? I asked Iris, and she said this is where you be, so... Gina, that's allowed in the museum. Madam Dispels will have you take a position as a waxwork if you're not careful. I think there might be a more pressing concern. I still had some flash power left from 6 months ago, so... Alright, Gina, we understand, but please, put down the gun. You found Enoch? Sorry, I got scared. You should try being the one on the other end of that barrel. So, what brings you here, Gina? What brings me here? What do you think? We found it! We found that dodgy cove's workshop. What? You found Drebber's workshop? Yep, Toby's nose took me straight there. The boss and the others are heading over there now in drag, so come on. Here's the address. I got the boss to write it out. Oh, thank you, Gina. We'll make our way there at once. All right then. See you there. This is a pretty long investigation. Pretty long investigation. You go. Don't mind me. I'll just stay here, being still. What? I know my place. An exhibit over there. Oh dear. Someone's feeling sorry for himself. Let's go, Mr. Sholmes. You're coming. Your words heartened me, I must say. But if I were to shrink my duties here, Madame would have me pay monetary recompense and Iris's dinner. Forget that. I'll pay for everything. Then there's not a moment to lose, my dear fellow. I shall hail carriage at once. No offer to share the cost from Mr. Sholmes, then. I shall gladly pay half, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Mrs. Sato. Right, let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Oh, look at that. That looks like... Oh, it's another super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Indeed, it will appear so, though only a prototype, naturally. Ah, so you got here then. Gina, well done for finding this place. In such a little time, you really worked miracles. It's Toby here, who's the miracle worker. Woo. Ah, I thought you lot would show up before long. Hello, Inspector. That's one knitted brow. He looks like he's eating a lemon, not a bag of fish and chips. So, Inspector, is there any sign of the engineer? Sadly not. We didn't find a soul in here. Oh, what a shame. Wow. Thank you for letting us know about this place and giving us the chance to investigate. According to what Gina tells me, we only found it thanks to a clue that you lot turned up. I would want to say, go to Paris with a debt of gratitude unpaid, would I? Thank you. Anyway, if you're hoping to snoop around here, I'll get cracking. Both Vanzix and the forensic investigation team are on their way here as we speak. Them again. I imagine you've got a picture by now. They don't take too kindly to lawyer types. Right. Even though a prosecutor technically is a lawyer as well. So then, my dear fellow, let's turn this place upside down whilst we have the chance. And you, Sholmes. Pardon? They take even less kindly to the great detectives than they do to lawyers. Very droll, Rexon, very droll. But you may consider me nothing more than an inconspicuous waxwork model. Right then, let's see what we can find here. Arrows. Very, very bright arrows. This is... It's a European style quiver of arrows with steel bolts inside. Oh, do you suppose? Crossbow bolts this. Just the right size for the bow you thought turn up an exhibition grounds. In other words, yep, a small evidence to support your theory. Your ghost now show that Drebber was the one pulling strings behind the scenes of the whole scam. Right. Something happened with the evidence, is it? It belongs to Mr. Anna Drebber. Alright, okay. What about this? Ah, this appears to be some most interesting. Yes, most interesting indeed, wouldn't you say? It's an impressive looking back massager, that's for sure. I've no doubt if you hit your shoulders in a few times with that, Your aches and pains will soon go away. It's a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science. A young scientist could wish for no higher honor. Ah. Would you like a massage? No, I'm fine, thank you. I had no idea it was such a grand thing. I think it's becoming increasingly clear that there's much more to this Mr. Enoch Trevor than conjuring tricks. I couldn't agree more, my dear madam. And how about you, Mr. Naruto? Would you like to take it with you? For your tired shoulders, of course. He's not going to let Ken go, is he? It's curious though, isn't it? You wouldn't expect such an important trophy to be proudly on display somewhere, not haphazardly cast aside. The English gentleman can be quite a mystery at times. Alright, got the thing now. Plane? What on earth is this? An aeroplane, Miss Naruto. One day, scientists believe it will allow humans to fly freely in the skies. Is that how the trick will be described, is it? Sorry? Well, it's actually suspended by a thin but very strong cable, isn't it? Oh, well, this model is yes, but a real aeroplane would actually fly high in the sky. Well, suspended from somewhere even high in the sky, of course. Because large metal objects obviously can't really stay in mid-air supported. So to you the solution is ever taller towers? Let's look at the obviously huge contraption. I'm sorry, Mr. Naruto. The machine is covered by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act. There would be serious repercussions if you were to examine it from the Crown and the government. Well, those two don't seem to be holding back. It's quite hollow inside. No working parts of devices of deception to be seen, my dear fellow. No loose change drop on the floor, nothing. Not even a bone for Toby here, my dear fella. British people are very much ruled by their own ideas, aren't they? I think that's just this too, Mrs. Sato. Alright, as the back room, let's look at the back room. This door doesn't want to be open. Yeah, it looks like it's got a pretty hefty lock in it. There's a specialist locksmith on his way over from the yard, so hands off till he gets here. With permission, Inspector, I could have that lock open in less than a minute. Well, you don't have permission, and no one's giving it to you. Gregson looked as though he really enjoyed that. Well, there's no sound of anybody on the other side. No, Trevor must have fled at the first sign of danger. Thud. Oh! Is something wrong, Mrs. Sato? Well, I thought I heard a noise from the far side of that door. Well, Gina, did you hear it too? Yeah, I heard it all. What you reckon, Toby? Well, someone's in there. Right, mind the grace. Thud. Whoever's in there, open up. This is Scotland Yard. Clomp. Squeak, clunk. Oh my, some ears in there. Ugh, this rotten, bleeding rock. My dear Gregson, as I said only minutes ago, if only it were countenanced, I could unlock that door in less than a minute. Fine, I'll take the rap for it.
just get us through that blasted door. Click. There, you may enter at will. You confuse minutes with seconds, I think. Time is of the essence, I feel. What are we waiting for? Nothing for it, I suppose. This is an emergency. There's a strong possibility that beyond that door is the engineer you all seek. But be prepared for action, my dear fellow. Yes. What we're gonna witness? Bomb! Oh no. Okay. What's happening here? Why is everything upside down? Rats! There ain't no one in here after all. But there must be. It was only moments ago that we heard those noises. Maybe that was the sound of the driver running away. There's only one door in this room. And no windows that will afford an escape route. No skylights are too high. What's that up there? Are they footprints on the ceiling? Blow me, blow me. What have we here then? Is everyone ignoring the bomb-like thing? Looks like someone's trying to burn something in a hurry. Oh, that looks like a set of blueprints. To what? To that Professor Harebrain's bomb machine, is it? Blimey, if that is, there'd be no need to muck around trying to investigate all the scrap metal. There is something of great interest here, too. This rope was lying on the floor at the foot of that pillar. A rope? What's significant about that? Never mind. You see, but you do not observe, Mr. Naruto. We must investigate the entire room thoroughly, and before forensic investigation team arrive too. Yep, let's look at the bomb. Mr. Sholmes, have you found something? Ah, Mr. Naruto. Yes, in point of fact, something rather fascinating. What do you make of this? Let's see. I've never seen anything like it before. It looks like a bundle of thick cigars wrapped... Ah! Mr. Sato, what's the matter? What's the matter? That's a... Surely that's a time bomb, isn't it? What did you say? Ah, a time bomb. Sorry, but what is a time bomb exactly? You truly are one of a kind, Mr. Naruto. I won't take that as a compliment. Ha! You don't know nothing, do you, Odo? You haven't got a clue what it is either, have you, Gina? I invite you to consult a dictionary later, Mr. Naruto. But this particular specimen is no time-bound, though I confess it has a very similar appearance. Oh well, thank goodness. But then what is it? I see, so that's it. Goodness, Mr. Sholmes, have you seen to the heart of the matter? There are times when I consider my loss most unfair, for I am fated never to know what it feels to flounder as you do when puzzle presents itself. But I have learned to accept the hardships that come with being a great detective, Mr. Sato. Here we go. I feel a great deduction coming. Once again, I can draw two conclusions from the scene we see before us. The first is that the inverted nature of the furniture in this room is the work of Trevor himself. Oh, but how could you? And the second conclusion is that the small device on the floor there is without question completely genuine. Please, Mr. Jones, you must explain everything.
It would be a pleasure. After all, it is a great detective's civic duty to teach Scotland Yard the finer points of the trade. Well, Inspector Gregson seems delighted with the idea. Anyway.
Oh, you deflected the inspector's glare with such fortitude there, Mrs. Holmes. Well done.
You're too kind, my dear madame. I hereby dedicate this great deduction to you. Kindly stay just there, Mrs. Arthur. Stand just there, Mrs. Arthur.
Oh yes, I'd be delighted.
So, shall we begin? Once again, Sherlock Holmes is proud to present his logic and reasoning spectacular. Alright. Oh man, we need to do this apparently. Flipped furniture. It's plain to see that we don't have a person to like suspect now. We just have to use Susato as a placeholder, I guess. It's plain to see that this room is in complete disarray. The bed, the table, chairs, the lamp, everything is upside down. Almost as if every item on the room had, until recently, been happily positioned on the ceiling, before falling straight down onto the floor. Every item in the room was on the ceiling. Every item on the ceiling? Are you suggesting that? Indeed. The key here, oh, there's numbers, is gravity. It would appear that technology at last succeeded in freeing us from the great pool of the earth. Man. Well, the gravity in this room was reversed and then suddenly restored to normality.
Goodness!
The inverted furniture clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. I quite understand your skepticism, Mrs. Arthur. I too was incredulous at first. However, my conviction in my analysis was cemented when I observed this. An anti-gravity device, almost identical to one that featured in a dream of mine only the other day, in fact.
But then why does it have a clock on it?
A most relevant question indeed. This timing device that controls when the gravity direction would switch. There was clearly a requirement for the engineer to be able to restore normal gravity automatically, and the commotion we heard earlier from the other side of the room was the moment that restoration occurred. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the anti-gravity device. So you see, we need to look no further to explain the state in which we now find this room. The direction in which gravity acts in here was reversed by Mr. Draper. Before being restored to normality in automatic fashion, sometime later by the timer device. I have witnessed precisely this scene in a dream I once had when I fell out of bed. This is beyond ridiculous. Let me go and grab something to bite. Now, let us consider the conundrum. What was our... Oh, sorry. Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain this action is above our heads. Yes, how is it possible that there are footprints all the way up there on the ceiling? A question would answer where it led us neatly to the truth. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of a nearby skylight. Of course, Draper's aim was singular, to escape. Sorry, I'm eating a biscuit. I'm quite famished. But this will do for the moment. However, there is but one way into this room, except in the skylight, that is. Okay. By inverting the gravity in here, Grabber was able to fall conveniently to the ceiling and make his escape via the otherwise inaccessible skylight, leaving those footprints behind on the way. But the ceiling in here is very high, Mr. Sholmes. If gravity reversal was sudden, would Mr. Grabber have fallen up to the ceiling rather violently? Falling up is both scientifically and philosophically a rather interesting concept, I feel. But the man was cornered with nowhere to run, so escape through the skylight was his only option. You may recall that I found this in-room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the road! To reach the intended destination, what better tool than this rope? By anchoring one end to the wall, the man was able to lower himself safely to the ceiling. Which explains how Grabber was able to escape this room before our arrival. He reversed the pull of gravity and fled via the skylight. And personally, I should very much like to reverse the pull of gravity again now, just for fun. Thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. Bring. She's completely spellbound. Mr. Sholmes, there's just one thing that troubles me. I would expect nothing less. You're destined to be troubled by just one thing for the rest of your life. The thing is such a thing actually possible? Anti-gravity device, I mean? I would say that with man's current scientific knowledge at the turn of the 20th century, it's no more possible than instantaneous kinesis, which is not possible. But your deduction hinges on it. Ah, but my dear fellow, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. However improbable it may seem. It's a marvelous line, wouldn't you agree? One of my more enduring pearls of wisdom. I had Iris come up with the exact phrasing. My original was clumsy. Yes, I have a feeling I've read it in something that Mr. Sato lent me once. Actually, there is one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. Ah, the spell's broken at last. The rope you found was on the floor, wasn't it? Indeed it was, in lonely coils near the wall. But if Mr. Grabber had used it to escape in a way you described, wouldn't it be tied to the wall? Mysteries inevitably unravel in the end, as I think you'll find do ropes. And as evidence of such, you need only to look at the mystery we face in this room, now skillfully unraveled. The argument is as circular as the coils of rope. I think perhaps we might need to give Mr. Sholmes the usual little helping hand. I'm sure we'll find with some minor corrections, this great deduction will lead us to the truth.
Yes, you're right. And we must do it quickly, before Enoch Driver gets too far away. If you're ready, then let's resume. Herlock Sholmes, logic and reasoning spectacular. Right, finally we can do this bullshit. Every time we have to do this, it just drains me. Because gravity was reversed. No! Blah 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 blah. I am getting tired of this. I just want to get it done with. Wing. Yes, gravity. No. 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 Inverted furniture. To think gravity could have been reversed in this very room, I find the whole idea utterly enthralling. Only Mr. Sholmes could convince of such an explanation, conceive. But the man himself admitted it was a scientific impossibility, so... Yes, you're quite right. You must completely discount the idea at once. Ugh, that's unusually merciless of you, Mr. Sato. When you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. The great detective himself said so, didn't he? While refusing to part with his dreams of anti-gravity devices. Yes, I suppose so. Well, let's see if examine this topsy-turvy scene a little more closely. Reveal some proof that shows exactly what gravity in this room was or wasn't doing. I'm guessing we need to look at this itself. All the furniture in here is very conspicuous and upside down, certainly. Yes, it does immediately put you in mind of some strange quirk of gravity, I admit. Could it be that a mini whirlwind passed through here, do you think? No, that's not true. I'm not sure that's much more plausible than Mr. Sholmes' explanation. Oh dear, saying the first thing that comes in our head isn't the way forward here, it seems. Safe. Look, Mr. Sato. When everything seems to be upside down in here, the safe is conspicuously the right way up. Have you noticed? Yes, that's right, that's true. But look more closely at the safe's feet. That's a lot of very large bolts fixing into the floor. Think before you speak. That's what you wanted to say, isn't it? I really put my foot in my mouth there. I certainly didn't say that. I don't think water plant? Yeah. Upright vase. The upright vase clearly reveals the truth about the part gravity played in this whole business. Upon my word, Mr. Naruto, you surpassed yourself by completely turning my argument on its head. Trying to impress your assistant here, perhaps? No one's trying to steal your spotlight here, Mr. Sholmes. Trust me. As you rightly say, though it appears at first glance at all furniture in the room, it's upside down. This unassuming slender vase is standing keenly to attention. And unlike the large safe, there's nothing affixing it to the floor. And it's the exception that breaks the rule. In short, much as it pains me, the gravity in this room was never inverted at all. Hello, Rifle-kun. Hello there, Jane. Hope you have a good stream. I am having a good stream.
Oof. I guess you can say that someone broke the law of physics in this room. Not quite true, not quite true. I have a very, very solid guess, but yeah, let's just enjoy the show, shall we? My deepest sympathies for your loss. Oh, poor Mrs. Sholmes. But the show must go on, so let us continue with our deductions. Alright, this is all pretty bad now. Now that we know that contrivance is not in fact an anti-gravity device, there remains but one other possibility. You don't say. Someone deliberately turned over every piece of furniture in here. Which might sound obvious, but leaves one mystery very much unsolved. Namely, why would anyone choose to do that? Quite, and naturally there is an explanation. Is that dynamite? That is dynamite. He is absolutely determined that this device must have something to do with it, isn't it? I'm afraid the love and exciting scientific explanation is too strong. Well, there's no doubt that somebody did this. Somebody turned all this furniture over, so whoever it was must have had a reason. I'm afraid nothing comes to mind at all, though. Well, let's look around and see if the answer presents itself. Over here. I already saw it. Yes, the reason why everything in here has been turned upside down is because of the safe combination. Precisely. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that you had a very similar experience once, did you not? Yes, last year. When I bought a lottery ticket and noted the ticket number down on the inside cover of a book, just in case. I get law-wise Ryu and Susato did not know dynamite, but Sholmes. Oh, we talk about the dynamite. I think they explain it. They explain the bomb thing. I mean, they know it's bomb, but our crazy Sholmes here is trying to say it's not a bomb. It's a anti-gravity device thing, which we quickly debunked. And that's it. For people of forgetful souls at heart, and always make a written note of important information. Just keeping the ticket itself safe would be more sensible, I think. And what, pray, happened, Mr. Naruhodo? Time to slap Mr. Sholmes and run away then. I really want to slap him so many times. When the day of the draw came around, I'd forgotten which book I'd written the number in and to turn my room upside down to find it. That's it. For people who are forgetful souls at heart and always forget where they are noted things down. Not if you always note things in the same place. I actually won the second prize, you know. But I couldn't remember which magazine I slipped a ticket into, so... Thank you, Miss Naruhodo, but I believe I proved my point now. Which is that a very similar scenario has clearly unfolded in this room. He actually won. But he couldn't find it, though, so unfortunate for him. Finding himself requiring access to the safe, the occupant of this room needed a combination code. You remembered that he'd written it on the underside of a piece of furniture, but forgot which one, leading to the state in which we now find the room. Oh, that was Sholmes. Yes, Mr. Drabber overturned all the furniture in here, in a desperate hurry to locate the combination code that would unlock the safe. Right, that's one. And there, I thought we were only lucky in dire situations. Oh, he's been lucky in a lot of situations. Now, let us consider the conundrum. What was our engineer friend's aim? Indubitably, the greatest clue we have to explain his actions. Oh yeah, let's just ignore this. We read through this, so we're just gonna continue. Oh. Well, if a change in direction of gravity can't explain it, how did those footprints get there? Yes, I feel as though that particular mystery has just become even harder to solve. It's definitely Chichak-man's footprint. I can't think of any way to explain it at all. Oh, life was so much simpler in those Halcyon days when gravity could be reversed. It was minutes ago, and those Halcyon days never existed in the first place. Well, I suppose we must simply put our faith in Mr. Sholmes and observe the area in more detail. Putting our faith in Mr. Sholmes is what gets us into these situations in the first place. Right, balloon. And there's a shoe over there. This is a gas balloon, isn't it? It's tiny, but does seem to be a real balloon. Yes, I think you're right. I think it's helium that's keeping it up. A green gas balloon. Why does it seem to ring a bell with me? If you see, there are footprints on this balloon too. Look. Trust Sholmes? Trust Sholmes? What's that, cookies? Let's look at a shoe. It's hard to believe, but there's shoes up there. Look! Oh yes! And there are more footprints on this little balloon too. Perhaps the shoes was thrown up there and became lodged, do you think? If you then suggest... if so, then judging from number of footprints, must have been thrown up several times. Why would anybody be throwing shoes up at the ceiling though? Oh dear, that's beyond me, I'm afraid. Let's present this. I get the camera angle, but how did they saw it from below? Yeah, I mean, it could probably stand a bit further and look up, you will see it. It's not totally hidden. The reason there are footprints on the ceiling is because of the nearby shoe. And on closer inspection, there are clearly footprints all over the balloon as well. In other words, the aim was never the skylight at all, but the balloon. But for what purpose? A green balloon, It seems somewhat familiar data. Ah! It was a piece of green balloon's envelope that Mr. Naruto and his iris found at the scene. And inside the green balloon that Master God's claims he saw above stage when the incident occurred was the second birdcage, the crux of the whole instantaneous kinesis deception. You mean to say, if we assume the balloon in here is a model of the one used on the day, there is a strong possibility something may be concealed inside it. Something our absconder was desperate to retrieve before making a hasty getaway. But the balloon's out of reach. That's why he resorted to a projectile, namely the shoe. Okay? Most probably, Drebber intended to tear a hole in the envelope by sealing it with the shoe. However, his efforts were thwarted when the shoe itself became a prisoner of those lofty heights. Oh dear, we desperately need to examine the balloon. If only there was some way we could see inside.
You may recall that I found this in a room earlier, which I believe offers a solution. Oh, the rope! To reach the intended destination, what better to do than... No, it's not the rope. Mr. Sholmes have managed to bring the deduction back to the rope. Alright, I have to admit, that was clever. So we just throw the rope up to the balloon and then pull it down to us on the ground. Which is much easier than said than done, I feel. And could take us a very long time so as well. True. Perhaps we need a more surefire method. In fact, we already have one, of course, don't we? Crossbow!
Take that!
To reach the intended destination, what better tool than the crossbow? It was found at scene, in fact. And in all likelihood, belongs to Mr. Drebber. Why are we keeping evidence? Why are we using evidence to get to you do things? Oops, what was that? Damn, I couldn't see. If the man had only brought it away with him that day, we could have avoided losing a shoe at such a critical time as this. Okay, we're gonna shoot it, I guess. So, shall we? Your curiosity is deeply stirred, no doubt, my dear fellows. What is it that Enoch Drebber has hidden inside that balloon? It's... what the... a waxwork? Indeed it is. A waxwork head inside a metal mask. A mask that is shut tight and fastened with a strong and quite impenetrable lock. So you can't see the face inside, it means. Just a moment. This is the head of a waxwork model? Does that mean... oh goodness! I see you joined the dots, Mrs. Otto. Excellent. Ah, of course, a headless waxwork model. The case of the abducted at Madame Despair's model that you largely have solved. It was only the head of the killer that was still missing. Indeed it was. But I believe Madame Despair's... you will now have to settle her sizable account with me. Ah, the man in the iron mask. This, as you may have now surmised, is the head of the infamous professor. Yes, but why is it here? This conclusively confirms my suspicions. The man responsible for stealing Professor from Madame Tussauds and returning it, sans date, earlier today, was none other than Enoch Drebber. This is incredible. Professor Harebrain's case and the waxwork abduction are inextricably linked by Enoch Drebber's workshop. Okay. Are we still gonna do it? Well, it appears our logical pressure clues has come to an end, my dear fellows. All that remains is, yes, to speak with the architect of this adventure. The architect? You mean Mr. Drebber? As it seems quite impossible that he escaped via one of the skylights. Obviously, the man must still be here in the room. What? Alright, Sholmes is actually starting to make sense now. All the while, it was like just repeating the bullshit that he has always been repeating. I guess, okay, it's a breath of fresh air, a tiny bit, I guess. And its location will be abundantly clear. If you simply reflect on the journey we've made together during this deduction, Enoch Drebber is right here somewhere in this room. So, Mrs. Schnarhodo, will you do the honors? Yes, of course.
Mr. Draber's hiding place must be the... Dong 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 dong. In here. In here? Oh, it's not? Ah, bloody hell. Alright, Miss Trevor, come out. Oh. Not there, Mrs. Naruhodo. But I don't understand. You could always climb inside yourself. Please, don't mind us. Do go ahead. I know how fond you are of wardrobes. I'll think of something else. Thank you very much. Yeah, I know. I mean, logically it would be the wardrobe. But of course, you know. I guess it would be the safe then. He's hiding in the safe. Before we gain access to this back room, we heard noises from in here. Which tells us that the engineer was still in the building at that point in time. He was in fact searching for the combination to his safe. Pressed for time, made an attempt to right the furniture that he overturned in the process, from which we can deduce that his search for the combination happened very recently indeed. In summary, Mr. Enoch Trevor is at this very moment inside the safe. Thus concludes Sherlock Sholmes' great deduction of this topsy-turvy puzzle. What? Yes, what is it? It's like, he's hiding in there. Is the safe unlocked? Or is the safe locked? If some reason or somehow we didn't discover he is in the safe, it's probably going to be trapped inside there forever and die. Inside the safe. Yes. He opened the safe to get inside the safe. Very logical. Deduction complete. Elementary. Elementary. So, Miss Naruhodo, I think perhaps it's time we ended this game of hide and seek, don't you? But is it safe though? By opening the safe, you mean? What else? Let's see. The combination was 1 4 3 2 5 8 2. I knew that. Alright then, here goes. Yep, it is locked. So how can the guy open it from the... Oh, yes, okay, I guess you can open from inside. And he's wearing black, apparently, to suit his white hair. How do I do his voice? What kind of voice should I give him? He looks like that guy, but... You found me. Oh man, he has a mechanical arm. A hand. Whoa. What the hell? Do we have another JoJo character again? He is very cool though. He's very cool. He's very cool. Right then, sir. Mr. Enoch Trevor, I presume. He is robot-ish. Correct. Correct. You better start talking. You tricked Professor Habrin with that bogus machine you built. And you shall have to explain that theft of the waxwork from Madame Tussauds as well.
Whilst I would be delighted to answer your many questions, I would advise that you deactivate my little parcel first. Deactivate? Your parcel? I refer, of course, to the time bomb. I left it in the most prominent position.
I should do a lower voice though.
Ha ha ha. I see. Stunned silence. You're gearing up to die with me then. No! Mr. Sholmes, we've only 7 seconds to spare.
That was okay. That was literally a bomb. Okay, I guess it is a bomb, and Drebber wanted to kill us. Apparently, that was too close for comfort. I got 1 foot in the grave already.
Are you trying to have us get a killer or get us killed? Mr. Sholmes' deductions can be completely life-altering, can't they?
Well, my dear fellows, that was a close shave. The resemblance to an anti-gravity device is really quite startling, I must say. Oh, now I know why Enoch hid in the safe. Yep, to kill us. We literally have someone trying to attempt to kill us. And if they say he's not going to be charged for the murder of our actual victim in the case, it's gonna be charged for attempted murder on all of us, at least.
Anti-gravity devices don't exist.
Will, I won't push it, Mr. Sholmes. Okay, now we have to talk to him, I guess. What on earth happened in here?
You found me, haven't you? No need to screw me down any further. Everything in here is precisely what it seems.
Worse still, one of us is a member of the Scotland Yard, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll be giving it a thorough going over, don't you worry, Trevor. What fails to click with me is how you were able to locate my workshop that I was not expecting. When I heard whistling from the other room, I knew it was time to bolt.
Man, what's making that sound? I'm pretty sure that hand is not actually mechanical, it's just a glove.
Whistling? Ah, that would have been me.
Oh.
For some reason, I woke in a fine fettle today.
No words, just tightly squeezed chips.
Clearly I have a few. I must have a screw loose, though, as I couldn't remember the combination for the safe. And another one loose, as I couldn't remember which piece of furniture I'd written it down.
We also found a rope over the wall.
Yes, I had hoped to exit through the skylight, but sadly the rope was too short. So I then set about searching for the combination code to open the safe.
And burning the incriminating blueprints, don't forget.
Regrettably, though, you failed to retrieve the head from the balloon among the rafters.
And after that, you hid yourself inside the safe, having first set the parcel ticking.
Well, I have no intentions of being nailed by the police.
Okay, he is doing fishy criminal stuff.
Got a death wish here, have you? Hiding right beside a ticking time bomb. Please, why do you suspect I chose to hide inside a safe? It's no ordinary safe. It's specially designed. A dynamite explosion wouldn't leave a scratch on it.
So, in fact, the safe was the only safe place. Just as you said, right, Fukun? It is the only safe place.
Precisely. But once you've climbed inside, you wouldn't have been able to get out again. I invite you to look more closely. The safe is fitted with a handle on the inside to allow the door to be unlocked within.
Ah, so it is. Enoch forgot that time I could broke the locking mechanism and it's still coughing. Yep.
I had always intended to blow this place to smithers in any case. I just wasn't expecting an invited guest to come along and screw up my plans. Do you mean to say you were planning to blow us all up? No, that was unforeseen. Really unforeseen.
What do you mean? Damn.
Most people run, you see, when they see a ticking time bomb at their feet.
Ah,
I calculated the time required for retreat to a safe distance and set the device accordingly. But your seemingly endless discourse in here threw a spanner in the works.
Sholmes! Yes, we have to blame Sholmes for that. You slappable himbo.
Is something wrong, Gregson? Do I have something on my face besides the usual eyes, ears, nose, and mouth?
I think we have a fairly good idea of what's been going on here now. But what about the two incidents you've evidently been involved in recently? Yeah, no slap marks. Professor Harebrain's instantaneous kinesis experiment at a great exhibition, and the waxwork model you stole, which this head belongs to.
There's no ordinary head, you know. That's the head of the professor. Clad in a mask with a lock so strong, I'm unable to open it safely to reveal the killer's identity. I've been considering carrying it around as protection.
That's enough! Oh, this one.
What's going on here, Gregson? I'm sure you're aware that I have sole jurisdiction to investigate here.
Yes, well. She's hot. I mean, what? Yeah, she is very smart and very attractive. Dr. Sith again. So the forensic investigation team are here. Short for FIT.
And you know full well this engineer is a key witness. Why are you allowing this lawyer access to him? If Lord Strongheart knew of this, you'd be finished. You lot, leave at once. My dear madame, there's no need for such a threatening tone, I assure you. After all, that's no way to create an acquaintance, is it, Dr. Sith? Hello, Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes knows Dr. Sith?
If it's protecting the machine next door that's causing such a sour expression on your face, you are quite misguided. It's really Nothing more than a shell. You get out. But of course, we'll show ourselves the door. I see you haven't softened at all. Mr. Naruhodo. Yes? It will appear that our delightfully entertaining investigations have run their course for today. But Mrs. Sholmes, let us leave this place in the doctor's capable hands. I said get out, now, all of you. Your presence here is not required either, Gregson. Understood. But I'll just say one thing before I head off. If it wasn't for this lawyer and his companions, we'd never have found this place, and the whole workshop would have been blown to bits. There was a time bomb set in here that this lot disarmed. Inspector. Coo. Something giving you a chuckle, has it, driver? Ah, so sorry. Didn't mean to offend. You're quite right, of course. You did disarm the time bomb, didn't you? Yes, you did disarm that one. What are you? That one? Yeah, you mean... Goo. Oh no, there's another bomb! They're going to destroy this one. Bloody hell, you're going to jail forever, you know? Doing all these things. You're going to jail. For certain, not for murder, for everything else. Property damage, terrorism, even possible. All sorts of things are gonna stick. It was an hour later that we heard the news of the enormous explosion that reached through the experimentation stage at a great exhibition. Professor Habrin's invention and all of its secrets were blown away forever. To be continued! We have been left with a cliffhanger. Not really. From the pieces of evidence and clues, we can really sort of picture some story already. But okay, as always, I think it's time we stopped. So yeah, thank you so much for everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this stream. It was been fun. It was fun. And yeah, we'll be continuing this. Fortunately, from 2 days from now, because I have not put up a schedule. I have not put up a schedule yet. But yes, technically today I'll be is Ace Attorney. Tomorrow is drawing. I'll be drawing another VTuber who will be which will be for the sub art commission giveaway which was announced last Friday, and it is Jimmy Chonks, very lovely VTuber, very lovely person. And then she has asked me to draw something very cute. I hope I'm able to do it justice in any case. So yeah, tomorrow's that, and probably at night I'll play some Overwatch. Finally have some time playing some Overwatch. Then of course Wednesday, Ace Attorney. We're back with Ace Attorney. Then on Thursday we're back with another legal investigations. We'll talk about another TOS, all right, another TOS, but this one is quite in general, not specific to any sort of entertainment, because we'll be talking about tweeters
terms of service, which is going to be interesting to read through. And most likely after terms of service, Twitch also has community guidelines. We also read about that. It'll be fun, hopefully. And of course, last but not least, Friday we'll be playing another horror game. It'll be a new one. It's gonna be a French horror game. I might consider putting the using French audio rather than English audio for that one. So yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to play that game and listening to French. Although yeah, probably will not understand most of it. I'll probably just look at subtitles, but it'll be fun. What's that game? Well, I'll announce later. So yeah. So as always, whenever I end my streams, I'll be, how do you say? Let me do this. Okay. Let me close up this first. Oops. Ooch. Close. And do this. Okay. Ariga, thanks for the stream. No problem, Rifle-kun. Happy for you to be dropping by. I hope to see you again soon. As always. Now, let's see if we can raid. Oops, not this. Not YouTube. I can't raid anyone from YouTube. Let's raid. Let's raid Mickey. She is like one of the first VTubers that I know, mutuals, I'm friends with. So let's go raid her. It's almost impossible to raid her because of how times she streams is like when I'm sleeping. She is a night stalker of sorts. So yeah, we'll be raiding Miki Kujira. She is a mermaid VTuber, and she has a new setup recently for her stream, so it might be quite a different experience for everyone. All right, let's do this. Okay, let's go. So take care, stay hopeful, and have a good evening, everyone. Bye bye.